Warrior Angel. Warrior Angel. Kasama si Brenda Arcangel tuwing Sabado at Linggo, alas 11 hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali dito sa Radyo Inquirer 990. Ang mga punong kahoy ang nagbabalanse ng ating ecosystem. Kapag mawala ang mga ito, lalong titindi ang init ng panahon. Kapag dumating naman ang tag-ulan o bagyo, madaling magkaroon ng landslide dahil wala nang kumakapit na ugat sa mga lupa.
May magagawa pa tayo para mapangalagaan ang ating kapaligiran at maiwasan ang mga trahedyang dulot ng global warming at climate change.
Makibahagi sa Upland Broadcasting, a yearly nationwide simultaneous tree planting activity ng kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas. KBP's Upland Broadcasting, now on its 7th year, is a recipient of the 2015 Peace and Environmental Awards from the Universal Peace Federation.
This movement proves that it takes one decision to help and save our Mother Earth. Kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas, Upland Broadcasting Project.
Upland Broadcasting, August 15, sa pakikiisa ng lahat ng KBP chapters, DENR at iba't ibang sektor ng ating lipunan.
Labanan ang matinding init ng panahon at alagaan ang ating inang kalikasan. Take the challenge. Magtanim tayo ng mga puno. Ito ang Trans Radio Broadcasting Corporation. DZIQ. Radyo Inquirer 990. Kasapi ng KBP. Hatid ay balanseng pagbabalita. Walang takot na pamamahayag. DZIQ. Radyo Inquirer 990. Ang mga pahayag, pananaw at opinyon na inyong maririnig mula sa susunod na programa ay sariling pahayag, pananaw at opinyon ng mga hosts at kanilang mga panauhin. Walang anumang kinalaman at walang kaugnayan ang pamunuan at ang istasyong ito.
Yes, good morning po sa inyo lahat. Welcome po dito sa Vigattin sa Radyo Inquirer.
Good morning!
Good morning, Ross. Kamusta na?
Good morning, Ellison.
Ma'am Arnie, sana makahabol ka pa rin. Yes.
Ayan, mukhang marami tayong bisita ngayon.
Oo naman. Lagi naman tayong maraming mga bisita sa mga bigating bisita natin, di ba?
Oo, lagi nga eh. Naguguluhan nga ako. Dahil
Mamaya makakausap din natin si Tina.
Tina Ampere.
Oo, si Tina.
Gigs on the Beach.
At tinatawagan na yata siya. Tapos pag-uusapan natin siyempre yung mangyayari sa Boracay.
Oo, syempre.
Di ba?
Kasama tayong dalawa dun di ba?
Oo, di ba?
Magkikita
tayo lahat
doon.
naman yata tayo, pupunta ka rin ba? O, lahat naman yata tayo pupunta.
Lahat pala tayo eh.
Oo. So, and of course, pag-usapan din natin yung Angel Hack Manila.
Yes.
Na katatapos lang ng Saturday. Okay? Ready na yata? Nandiyan yata si Tina?
Oh, okay. Unahin natin siya.
Oh, na. Hello, Tina.
Hi.
Hi, good morning, Tina.
Good
morning. Kasama natin si Jay. Jay Fajardo nandito din.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Tina.
Hi, everybody. The audience, kamusta? Good morning.
Good
morning.
Kasi, kamusta na yung mga preparations natin na ginagawa pa rin para sa Gigs on the Beach?
Ilang araw na lang.
Excited na tayo, no?
Excited. Oo. Yes. You guys are all coming, di ba?
Lahat kami.
Lahat na dito sa studio.
Okay. So yes, we have about 5 days to go. Tapos, we're very excited. We have about 76 speakers from around the world who will come and join us.
76.
Wow, ang dami.
So, nakakaloka.
Nakakaloka.
Very exciting. So, alam ko maraming mga events these days, pero yung difference sa atin is we're gonna showcase also the best of the Philippine beaches, diba? Yung sa Boracay.
Yes.
Sa mga, our conference is for people who are involved in trying to start a business using technology tools. Yung merong mga businesses na and they want to improve their business, if you want to use websites and apps, you can come to the event to see how people are using technology to increase their sales, increase their profit. May mga Filipino tayong nag-create ng mga products, mga apps na kagaling-galing. So we're gonna showcase them. And then we have a bunch of investors here in the Philippines, and from outside the Philippines who are coming to take a look at what's new and what's exciting sa Philippines. So hopefully they can enjoy themselves, like some of the products that we're showcasing and invest in the Philippines.
More or less, ilan ba yung nag-register?
So ngayon, we're expecting between 400 and 500 people. Mga last minute kasi yung iba natin, diba? Yes, so...
Ano pa ba
last year we had about 450 people.
Sino may mga speakers natin na aabangan natin lahat?
Ako marami.
So, coming back from last year is Dave McClure. Siya ang one of the most popular investors in Silicon Valley. In fact, Geeks on a Beach is based on one of his programs called Geeks on a Plane.
Yes.
So, Dave McClure is coming from 500 startups.co. Hindi lang siya, Ellison. Lahat ng mga venture partners niya pupunta rito.
Pupunta, no? Wow.
Kasi yung 500 startups, they have an investment fund that focuses on each country. So, meron silang investment fund sa Southeast Asia, tinatawag nilang 500 durians. Meron sa South Korea. Meron sila sa Thailand. And they're gonna announce a new country in Southeast Asia soon. And then, hopefully, sa Philippines one day.
Okay. May mga companies ba right now na being funded by 500 startups? Dito sa Pilipinas?
Meron, madami na sa Manila. So, I think Pawn Hero just announced that they're gonna get some funding from 500 startups. So, Pawn Hero, tapos Deep Match, and a bunch of others. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Wow.
Yan, kaya nga, Ellison, ang dami kong mga events nung from 19 to 22, binitawan ko lahat yon para lang makarating dito sa Geeks on the Beach.
Wow naman. Galing naman talaga ni Ross naman. Na-segue mo pa yun. Sige, Tina, bali, yung mga speakers ba natin na pupunta dyan,
Yes.
sagot ba natin lahat? Sagot ba ng yung gastos doon?
Hindi po. That's one thing different about our conference. Kasi kami, the organizers of Geeks on the Beach is an organization called TechTalks.ph. So, yun ang non-profit natin. Ang foundation ng TechTalks, nag-organize kami ng mga meet-ups, yung mga little meetings, tapos startup weekend, teaching people how to launch a startup or build apps or build websites para na they can start their own business. It's a non-profit organized by volunteers. Supported po tayo ng DOST yan. So yun ang foundation. And then we partner with the biggest, most awesomest incubators sa Philippines. So they're very supportive of our activities. Ideaspace.ph and then the Smart group of companies, Smart Grow, Smart Communications, PLDT, InnoLab, yung MVP companies. They're very supportive of Geeks on the Beach, tsaka yung DOST. They give us the core sponsorship fund. But then the rest, we have to solicit on our own.
Kasi alam ko, Tina, napakalaking gastos, no?
Malaking gastos.
Okay. Sabi ko, mababawi ba? Di ba? Sa ganitong klase.
It's a very difficult thing. So it's a very difficult thing. It's a lot of work for, last year, maski last minute tayo, we're still soliciting even now. Kasi grassroots tayo eh. That's one thing different about Geeks on the Beach. We're an event organized by startups, for startups. So grassroots meaning wala kaming malaking funders, even if Smart and Ideaspace and the USC are funding us. It's just a very starting fund lang yan. The rest we have to solicit. And then yung registration fee, we can't make it too expensive dahil hindi makaka-join yung ibang locals natin.
Tama.
And so we are very thankful to most of our speakers who spend their own time and money to pay for airfare and hotel. May mga konting sponsors kami. And we thank everyone. So, hopefully next year may ibang sponsors na tayo, no?
Oo naman. May next year na kagad, ha? May next year na talaga kagad.
Geeks on the Beach 4.
Well, this is part of the discussion we're gonna have at events. Because there's many at Geeks on the Beach. Kasi may Slingshot Manila, may mga iba-ibang events dyan. And hopefully, we can cooperate para streamline yung events natin. Hindi tayo mag-duplicate, diba?
Do you want to ask? Tina?
Yes, hello?
Yes.
Tina.
I can hear you too. Yes.
Jay here.
Hi.
So, here's the question. Why am I so overworked at Geeks on a Beach?
Overworked.
No, because
that's what happens when our agenda committee looks at who can do this work for us? May nag-volunteer na hindi nag-volunteer eh.
Yeah. Because what's gonna
You
happen
do
is...
so well at your job, that's why.
Oo, kasi tatlo yung... yung responsibilities. I have 2 panels. It's so far, at least, no?
At
2
least.
panels and 1 speaking engagement. Tapos, personally, well, I'm representing actually 3 companies when I go there. My Proud Cloud,
Medify.
Launch Garage, and my new startup, Medify. No? So, talagang, trabahong-trabaho ako doon.
Overwork ba?
Kailangan ko talaga pumunta.
Oh.
May pananawagan ako. I need your recommendations on other people we can tap who can facilitate the panels and who can host some of the sectors.
Sige.
So, if you can help me identify people, kasi mostly in Manila na we need some women geeks to facilitate, you know.
Okay.
Other, yung
Yeah, maybe some of them
generation
are here in this room actually right now.
Oo nga.
Goldie is
Nandito
here.
sina Goldie.
Golden Marix, Andrew. And also Gian of
Marix,
Cogito.
wala pang role yan. Marix, may role
Marix.
tayo.
Hey, I have a role. If I remember.
How about Goldie?
May role ako.
Goldie, meron na yan. May facilitator na siya.
Meron na ba? Say hi naman to, ano?
Hi, good morning.
Hi, Goldie girl.
Hi, Tins. Gian here.
Gian.
Hey, Tina. Marix.
Yan, sorry ha. You're not gonna be able to come though.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Anyway, but no, I just also want to actually thank, Teens and Geeks on the Beach. They've been very instrumental actually in the development of Innovatage, my startup. There's actually a good anecdote that I want to share. Last year in Cebu, Geeks on the Beach was the one who allowed us to meet our first investor. I was in a cab with Minute Navarrete of Kickstart at that time. That's where I pitched. We had 2 minutes in between
Inside the
Movenpick and the hotel. So, I had 2 minutes to pitch, and a couple of months later, we signed an investment with them. So,
great.
I really am thankful, and I hope that several other geeks, entrepreneurs as well, will find the same opportunities within Geeks on the Beach in Boracay. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend because not only am I a startup CEO, I'm also a startup dad.
Yeah.
So I have an 8-month-old daughter that I also have to take care of, and I have to manage
No
all
more
of that.
Boracays for you.
You should bring your other half.
I will next time.
Next time. Kasi club naman tayo kay Tina, di ba? Thank you, Tina. Di ba?
Thank you so much.
Hindi mo, marami ka nang natulungan.
Pero just
so yun na nga, we want to continue it. So we work really hard to bring all these people to Boracay. So you don't have to go to Singapore, Hong Kong, or saan kayo. Punta na lang kayo sa Boracay and take advantage. If you need any specific help, mag-email kayo sa amin and we'll try to accommodate.
Okay.
Yung kwento ni Gian kanina, that's typical of what happens at Geeks on the Beach. From the perspective of a guy who's been going since the first one, talagang you're put in a situation where parang everybody's there, even from the region, even from Silicon Valley. Talagang, you share a cab with them. Last year, in fact, what happened was, our plane got turned back on the runway, so our flight got delayed. I was on the plane with Dave McClure, Manny Ayala of Hatched, and Endeavor, si Maria Reza of Rappler, Carlo Calimon of Mobcard.
Yes.
So, it became our own little experience na nandun lang kami, naghahanap ng flight papunta ng Boracay. Meanwhile, Cebu. Meanwhile, the organizers were trying to adjust all the schedules kasi karamihan sa amin had speaking engagements in the morning. Pero, we had our own little experience and we, syempre, nag-bond kami doon, kanya-kanyang kwentuhan. Pero, that's also a snapshot of what happens really at Geeks on the Beach because, you've got the conference per se, tapos sa labas, nakatambay kung sino-sino, no? Tapos, of course, in the F&B area, sa beach mismo, while you're traveling from one venue to another, that's all those are opportunities to network.
Galing, di ba? At dahil sa Geeks on the Beach.
Yeah.
Di ba? Kay Tina. Tina.
Sa team po natin, tayo lahat.
Di ba?
We can't do it without you guys and our team as well.
Okay, sige Tina, meron ka pa bang gustong sabihin?
I'm just inviting everybody to join Geeks on a Beach. You can go to geeksonabeach.com. If you have a career and you want to amp it up, if you're a student and if you want to learn more, if you're a business person and you want to learn how to use technology to better your business, if you're in the technology field or a startup founder, join. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I guarantee you your life will never be the same. On the beach. And thank you, Ellison, and everybody in the room for supporting us.
Okay, thank you.
Salamat, Miss Tina.
Tina. Yun.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you.
See you next week.
Jane, di biro yung ganitong klaseng event. Napaka daming aasikasuin. Actually, malaking funding ang kailangan, no? Hindi ko lang alam kung how much, hindi natin natanong kung more or less kung magkano eh.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure kasi venue-wise, syempre yung pinakamalaki, no? Tapos, if you're sponsoring the trips of some of the speakers that are flying in from abroad, that
mabigat.
Plays that's a big deal. Tapos yung mga pocket events, the marketing itself, the exposure. So, medyo malaki talaga.
Malaki talaga. At least worth it naman, no? Kasi for 3 years na natin ginagawa to. No? Sa tulong siyempre ng Kickstart and Idea Space.
Lagi naman nagsusupport sila. Tapos,
kasi kung di sila mag-support, wala talaga dito.
Yeah.
wala si Gian siguro. Di ba? I mean, hindi sila mag-minute ni Minute. Di ba?
Yeah.
Si
Marami
Sipmatch,
talagang,
hindi ni sila makakakuha ng funding.
Magandang purpose talaga. So, yun nga, yung mga stories na ganyan. That's just an
siguro
example.
naman mga 3 years from now, yung Geeks and yung Cogito, yung Safe Match, sila na rin mag-i-sponsor nung.
Dapat lang.
Dapat lang. Paying forward, no? Paying forward.
Exactly.
Diba? Hindi naman kasi kaya ng Idea Space. Baka yung
funding ng Idea Space.
Funding nila is 500 million. May 500 million, di ba? Medyo nabawasan na yun. Hindi ko lang alam kung magkano na lang ngayon.
Next year, sponsor na nila yung plane fare ko, pati yung hotels.
What I really like about Geeks on a Beach, generally kasi, I mean, Tina, I was with her in KL over the weekend, and to Jay's point, these pocket events and these talks, he was saying he's overworked, but really how I perceive it is it's really a community initiative. So even the pocket events are sort of owned by the different ecosystem players, and that's what I like about it. It's very Switzer, very holistic, and so ikaw, kahit enthusiast ka or community builder or a startup, you'll find value in an event like Geeks on a Beach. On another end, if naman you're trying to court international people to wanna try out the Philippines and check out the startup scene and hopefully invest in the Philippines, what's a better hook than an event called Geeks on a Beach, right? Yeah, it's so cool. So yeah,
gusto ko sana itanong, bakit bumalik tayo sa Boracay from, di ba, first time Boracay and then Cebu, tas balik Boracay. Sign ba to na every year na lang Boracay na tayo? Or
not really. In fact, the objective sana is to feature one new beach. We have so many beautiful
napakamahal kasi ng Palawan.
Diba? Actually, Palawan talaga yung original plan. But the thing is, diba, you're already spending for your airfare there.
Yes.
And then, diba, there's that complexity pa na hindi masyadong maraming accommodations around. So, you don't want
saka mahal.
So, matataas yung barriers to entry mo. So, konti lang yung makakapunta.
Yeah, also, mas maraming party places in Boracay compared to Cebu from last year. So, usually kasi geeks, diba, after the conference, nagpa-party sila. So, from what I've experienced last year, magta-travel pa from Mactan to the city. It was very difficult for us to travel.
Yeah, sa Cebu, no?
Kind of expensive too kasi if you're gonna take a cab, parang it's 100 plus din. But if you're in Boracay, lakad ka lang. Pagtitweet lang yung
very
isa.
Convenient.
Nandun lang, di ba?
Ganun nangyari yung first year.
Cool lang, no?
Ganun yung nangyari.
Over here,
Hey guys, where you at? Ganyan.
Lakad ka lang talaga, no?
Pero yung sabi nga ni Goldie, yung I think one thing to highlight about this event is that it's really targeted to be a regional one. So being a Southeast Asian thing, and it's unique. It's the only one in the region that's really at the beach or uses a beach as a venue. And yun ang ano natin, tawag dito, unique product proposition ng Pilipinas, yung maraming beaches, saka magaganda yung beaches, no?
Tama.
So yun. So I don't know if I can we want to definitely highlight this as a regional event and get people from around the region to come over and attend it.
Okay. Pero centerpiece is siyempre yung mga founders pa rin natin, mga companies.
Yeah.
Sure. Also geeks.
Geeks, di ba?
Yeah.
Ngayon, the question is, kamusta na ba yung ecosystem natin? Kasi yun ang center talaga ng sentro talaga ng pag-uusapan natin. Lahat ng ginastos natin ito. Dapat meron tayong ma-produce na katulad ni
Actually,
ni
dumadami na talaga eh. Kasi
Gano'n na ba kadami?
dumadami na yung mga founders. When I say founders, startups. Okay. Tapos yung mga hack events. That's really a venue for yung breeding ground for different ideas, no? So paulit-ulit dapat ginagawa yan, and just to create the founders. Okay, para dumami. Ngayon, syempre, kailangan nila ng fuel. The ecosystem needs a funding component. Syempre, mga angels, some angel networks, some institutional funders, seed stage, Series A. Nandiyan yung ecosystem, meron ecosystem or there's a significant funding presence din kasi regional funders pumapasok
na. Kasi hindi naman sila papasok kung wala.
Oo. So they're very curious about the Philippines. Unfortunately, mas matunog yung ibang countries like Vietnam nga kasi Thailand and all that, pero
siguro dahil na rin sa support, kung gaano kasi kalaking support ng government. Yung Prime Minister ba ng Vietnam, yung ba yung nakita ko doon na yung supporting startups?
I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. Pero sa Malaysia, if you're familiar with Magic, that was a personal crusade by the Minister of Finance. Kaya nung pumunta ako doon, ang ganda. Ang laki talaga, and just like that may campus sila na
may infrastructure na sila to support startups.
Yeah, but they partnered with Cheryl Yo, a pretty good key player who has exited startups in Silicon Valley also. So syempre meron silang personality that drives it. Pero, yun na nga, yun yung pinag-usapan namin higayang kanina.
Yes.
Kawawa naman yung Pilipinas. We know our strengths.
Yeah.
We know our strengths. We know our
kasi
skills.
Actually, ang dami natin developers talaga na magagaling.
Developers and designers. Design-wise, malakas ang...
Talaga, world class talaga. Siguro, yung intervention lang ng government talaga. Katulad na pinag-uusapan lang natin, di ba?
Yeah, well, I don't know kung yung mga ibang countries relied on the government for PR. It just so happens na sila yung tinignan eh.
Correct.
I think it really didn't have much to do with what the government was doing. Particularly in Thailand. Hindi naman malakas yung government mag-support ng startups doon eh. Pero medyo they emerge as go-to, no? I don't know if it's a stigma.
Ano yung kulang, Jay?
Exposure ng Pilipinas as a good startup source. Kasi dapat yung mga Tech in Asia, E27, dapat bumuhos rin tayo dyan ng news or PR, no? Yung mga bureau representatives ng E27 Tech in Asia, papasok din sa Thailand, they're all there. They're very active in
may writers naman tayo, di ba? Si Beb.
Yeah, so pretty recent yan. Before there wasn't a local presence, for example, but they're recognizing that there are stories to tell. There have been sort of talks of collaborations of bringing their regional events here. What they say is kulang pa. And in
Kulang
fact,
alin?
Kulang pa yung activity actually, no? And then also for example, Geeks on the Beach, regional investors. Casually when you ask them, out of the sort of percent of investments you make in your entire sort of portfolio, bakit konti lang yung from the Philippines or wala pa? usually they say is that, when I pour out my money, it's not small cuts, it's big cuts. So I'm looking for businesses that are of this maturity. My opinion is that I think the community hasn't sort of gathered until the last 3 years. So I don't also want to beat ourselves up and say, wala talaga, and be defeatist about it. I think this is just the beginning of greater things. So this emphasizes the importance that we need to take care and actually highlight stories like Cogito, right? Na because of events like this, it has, facilitated deal flow. We need to continue connecting people. Business people need to inject tech, and tech people need to think about business. And it has to be beautiful, so design needs to be there. So people just need to collaborate.
Let me cite an example. Iba Bernardo won in the Global Entrepreneurial Summit sa Kenya. Wala sa news yun. There are 5 startups, Filipino startups, that were accepted to Magic out of 500 applicants. Okay. Nobody knows about them.
No problem.
Can you from the top of your head, can you list down all these startups? Lima. Seed Stars, si Judah.
Si Judah, yes.
Nanalo.
Wala rin masyado.
Wala. It's not being covered. I mean, I guess the regional investors should actually take note of that. That there are some pretty some winners, real winners that are coming out of the country.
To add to what Goldie mentioned and to what Jay mentioned as well, from the past, I guess 4 years, I think the first startup weekend, my startup community experience began with the first startup weekend, and that was when I saw that, when I signed up for it, kala ko konti lang. When we were there, may pila just to pitch, diba? And that was 4 years ago, and there was nothing before it. And there wasn't even a hackathon at that time. And then in the year after, and 4 years later, it's like hackathons everywhere. I don't know how many startup weekends we have already.
Every weekend.
Every weekend, which is good.
We're having the 7th this next month.
So there's a lot of things that happened, and in the 4 years, there's a lot of things that has happened here in the country. Unfortunately, it's not always publicized.
Yes.
But I believe that we have the raw material. I always tell my guys that we have the best developers, the best designers, and I think what makes it good then being a Filipino is that we're very emotional as well, and emotions play a big part in design.
Yes.
So if we can channel our emotions into creating compelling products, and that's something that will bring more publicity. Not to us, of course, to our country, and to everyone.
Ang question ko is, bakit hindi ba pinipick up ng mga publications or networks yung news regarding sa mga nabanggitin nyo? Wala ba tayong contact or communication with?
Meron.
Yeah,
so, bakit hindi kumakalat?
Actually, sa amin, for DevNet, we organize a lot of hackathons, and usually naka-capture siya. So there are newspaper companies who's actually like picking up our news, pero hindi kasi siya always sa front page. It's not really the highlight kasi hindi siya kulang siya sa kulang siguro sa probably information kung bakit sila nanalo, for what, kasi it's always bakit may hackathon, and then hindi naman na-educate yung Filipinos. Usually pag hackathon, iniisip nila yung bad side ng hackathon, yung nag-hack, diba?
Medyo negative kasi yung hack
Yung, yung parang image na word na hackathon, hindi rin masyado. Well, for us, hindi okay.
I think generally it's an understanding of it. So coming from one of the big events nung July, in partnership with government, I was observing how media sort of perceives it, right? Coming from sort of the messaging of the panel, and then out goes the PR. It's still the buzzwords, I guess, that are highlighted, where, pick up it will be better. But really, I think the meat should be, siguro call to action to make ease of business better, or actually highlight the stories nga. So I guess it's sort of a signal to na we need to make the community bigger, and that should be partly media also, that should be like immersed in all these events also, and you know the track records of the startups. So they get
one thing I think missing here, from the PR perspective, is somebody that covers the community and the ecosystem
Yeah,
specifically.
someone who understands.
They have that in Thailand. They have that in Vietnam. Tayo wala. We used to have that about, yun nga, tagal na pala nung first startup week.
I was there.
That was, pero around that time, nandiyan pa yung startup, sino ba yan? Yung startup report? I don't know, I can't remember. Si
Bowie. Startup World Trip.
No, there was a publication before online that covered startups, tapos nawala.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. Nobody came out again. Dati, the Bobbery was there, pero video yun. Okay. Sabay, may blog siya, no?
Yeah.
Tapos, now, we're only relying on E27 and Tech in Asia. The readership kasi of the printed dailies, journals, might be different. If you're out to inspire the younger generation, they might not be reading those newspapers.
In fact, they might not be reading newspapers at all.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out who they're reaching. Who are these people, no? But we have to rechannel the communication to the proper medium that actually hits the desired audience. We're talking about the investors, region, the young people, to inspire them, to educate them. I'm sure the young people know what a hackathon is.
Yes, they know.
Yeah.
They know what it is. I mean, it's no longer true that, you know, the hack is stigmatized.
Yeah.
Pero wala pa tayong dami dyan. Youth hack happened.
Walang masyadong ingay, no?
Walang ingay.
Speaking of hackathons, di ba meron tayo last Saturday?
Yeah, we had Angel Hack Manila. So Angel Hack is a global hackathon that's happening around the world. So Smart DevNet with A-Space Manila. So we organized the Manila leg. Actually today and tomorrow it's Angel Hack Davao.
Okay.
Yeah, so another community is actually organizing it. It's community driven. Although I'm from Smart.
But both sponsored by Smart?
Yes. So, they're having the hackathon in PLDT in Davao. Okay. So, kailangan kasi yung venue overnight, conducive. So, pag hindi siya overnight, it's not Angel Hack. Okay. So, the winners will actually go to Silicon Valley next year. So, they're going to represent the Philippines. So, this is coming from like more than 20 countries. We have Iraq, we have, I think, Tel Aviv in Israel, China, Japan, Singapore. So, magko-compete sila next year and then probably steal the hearts of the investors. Or, well, we don't really encourage them to get acquired. But, you know, if a Filipino company gets acquired by Google or maybe Facebook, hey, parang it's a good thing, right? Yeah. So that's actually the main goal. They have to think globally. So, before they fly to Silicon Valley, we will actually try to coach them. We'll get mentors. Probably we can introduce them to Jay or, you know, maybe Gian. Actually, I'm gonna ask Idea Space if they can, like, mentor them before they fly. It's gonna be a year before they go to Silicon Valley anyway.
What's the average age ba?
Actually, there's no age limit. We actually have like 50 years old, like hackers joining with us.
50? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have like, so there's a dad who likes to hack. Sinasama niya yung 6-year-old niya na anak.
Talagang geek na lang talaga.
Geek talaga siya. So, feeling ko yung gap lang sa hackers, they're very technical and they're mad scientists. So, we have Idea Space to help them out sa business. So, tulong-tulong lang naman yan kung paano nila mabibuild. So, may mga success stories na kami na hindi namin masyado pwede i-share kasi hindi ko alam kung nag-NBA sila. But, one hacker, he didn't win. Pero nabigyan siya ng blank check.
Oh?
Yeah. So, I won't say na kung sino siya and kung sino yung nagbigay. But he told me like after a year. So, second round na raw ng blank check niya. So, baka one of these days, I'm gonna ask Idea Space to meet with him so he can settle down and then get coached because it's been a year. So, we really want to help him out, and it's a good success story when he flies one day, probably next year, sana. So, hindi lang siya talaga well promoted like what Jay said, but we are changing lives. So, hindi lang siya lagi success. You know, Project Noah? So, that came from our hackathon back in 2012. So, it was with Rolly, and then we sent Rolly to Silicon Valley after a year kasi nanalo sila Angel Hackman nila. And nakaka-heartwarming kasi sinabi nila sa amin na we bought one-way tickets to Manila from Davao. And then they won. So, they stayed in Manila for like a few months. Sinuport sila ni Idea Space. In-incubate sila. But I think, hindi naman lagi success afterwards. Pero nakita nila kung anong gusto nilang gawin moving forward. So, that's actually warms our heart naman.
Jay, medyo malayo-layo pa babiyahin natin, no?
Ha?
Yeah.
Well, medyo. Pero,
at least meron tayong mga VCs coming from other countries.
Marami. Japan, dami.
Yung potential meron, no?
Well, one of the things that also has to be mentioned is that the sources of founders also include the universities. You have UP Enterprise, there's an Ateneo Innovation Center, tapos Animal Labs in Lasal, no? Na yun, I don't know, meron rin mga iba, the other universities, unti-unti. Pero, since I'm also an advisor in UP Enterprise, for example, magaganda yung mga lumalabas doon kasi these are all coming out of, we're not talking about just plain digital startups or web software based, talking about applied sciences, mga industrial filter technology,
genomes.
Well, there's so far wala pa akong nakikita masyadong biotech pero may mga industrial filters, mga applied sciences nga, then stuff that addresses things like agri-tech. Nagkakaroon na kasi ng mga verticals Okay, you're talking about ag tech, you're talking about food tech, health tech, biotech of course, and fashion tech. Yan yung nagkakaroon na ng key verticals. So it's good to mention that our universities are actually coming out with all these things, but they don't necessarily get the same mainstream guidance as the rest of us do, no? So that's something that has to be corrected, and we're all trying to help out.
Okay. Do you have mga agencies talaga na bukod sa DOST na pwede natin lapitan for that?
ICTO.
DOST, ICTO.
Well, ICT is ICT.
Yes.
Okay. So when you
was here last Saturday.
Yeah. The thing about ICT kasi, kung ICT ka lang, siyempre hindi mo na iniisip yung yung mga chemists, so it has to be the DOST.
Actually, I think open data is like supporting the developer community, Sakai.ph.
Yeah,
it's actually one of the initiatives of Open Data, DBM, Department of Budget and Management.
Kasi actually, mga major players lang natin ngayon, 2 telcos lang. Club sa Smart. Hindi naman nila kaya pareho.
No. Well, iba I mean, when you talk about support talaga, it just so happens that they're the ones that have a clear economic perception of the gains of startups and innovation, no? Ang kasi university and government, puro broad overview of innovation yan they're not really clear on how to hit it from the ground, on the ground level. That's why they're trying their best as well to make sense of it, and we're trying our best also to work with them to get these things out of the labs into products. Yun ang challenge, productizing some solutions out of the labs. Yan ang challenge ng universities. Madali for us, because we've got mentors. That's why we're trying to introduce the same thing now to into that space.
Yan. May gusto ko yung tanong sana sa lahat ng mga success stories na encounter niyo na, di ba? Meron bang certain formula or parang para maging successful yung isang idea nga? Aside from being global, di ba? Kanina na-mention niya na global dapat yung idea niya. Meron pa bang ibang factors na kailangan consider?
Actually, the team.
The
team has to parang they have to know each other. And then they have to know how to collaborate. Dapat nagkakasundo sila. Kasi most startups actually fail because of the difficulties in terms of collaborating with each other. So that's our usual parang criteria. If we're gonna choose winners, kailangan nakikita namin na nagkakasundo sila lahat. Kasi during hackathon, I usually, our team goes around, we say hi, hello, and then parang makikita mo naman kung nagko-collaborate sila or not. So usually they say, oh, we just met them here. So okay, so do you like each other? They have to like each other, that's one. They have to understand the vision of each other. So siguro yun yung secret. Dapat nagko-collaborate yung team. The team is important. Walang kwenta yung product nila kung yung team hindi nagkakasundo.
Tsaka dapat yata sa team, di ba? Dapat merong developer.
May developer, may business, may magaling mag-pitch, may designer, may user experience, ganon. So,
Andrew, about you?
Aside from that.
On my end, like, what I observe, like, most successful startup, they have a different kind of attitude towards failure. Like, statistically, you would see na normally entrepreneurs, diba, like, they would say only 1 out of 10 would survive.
Yes.
Like, after a certain period of time. But statistics would also indicate that you're 50% less likely to fail if you've encountered failure in the past. So, meaning people or startups who've encountered failure and have returned back to doing startup are more likely to succeed twice much more than people who never encountered failure.
Yung persistent talaga.
Persistent.
Saka yung lessons talaga na learned. Dapat, yun yung dapat pag-mentor eh. Dapat masabi mo na kagad yun eh. Para at least hindi na replicate yung problema.
Well, yeah, learn from other people. Of course, that's very easy to say, no? Hard to do.
easier said than done.
But,
Meron din mga founders na matitigas ang ulo.
syempre.
Diba?
Dapat lang.
Oh.
No,
Requirement.
Pero there's in fact, I gave a talk sa Startup Summit last Saturday about that particular topic, no? Yung success ng startup. Sabi ko, of course, there's no such thing as a formula for success. So all you can do is strengthen your startup, a strong startup and a smarter one. Pero there was a key Kaufman study that came out that sort of showed some surprising stats, no? Like they studied startups over the past 5 years sa Silicon Valley. Tapos tinignan nila kung sino yung mga nag-survive after 5 years, sino yung mga nandun pa. So they studied age, gender, IP, existence of intellectual property, capitalization. So, gender, presence of IP, and capitalization had zero impact. Okay, they equally were successful 5 years. Age ang medyo significant. A lot of the ones that still survived were founded by people 40 and above.
40 and above. Okay.
The ones that failed in the first 2 years were all the ones founded 20 and below.
Bakit kaya?
20 and below.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's actually a
based on sa experience nila.
Yeah, that's something that
ibig
has
sabihin
emerged.
Yung mga bata medyo madaling mag-give up.
Hindi. Kasi yung the old guys, chances are may mga startups na dati yan eh.
Oo, experience na kumbaga.
Nag-exit na yan, nag-fail na yan multiple times. So they already know what to do. And this was something that came out also last year. Some investors were saying that they'd rather invest in
mature na
people with mature founders. May isa pa palang data point silang mineasure, yung race.
Anong race dapat?
Asian.
Predominantly white people found startups. Predominantly white. but there's a high percentage. There's a high significance of Asians.
Okay.
That are successful.
Okay.
Malaki.
Medyo siguro
Kunyari,
karamihan yan, developers.
90% of the Asians last it for 5 years. Now, so yun.
Most of them ba developers? Meron bang ganung issue?
Well, hindi. When you talk about founders naman, you're
Yeah,
still talking about
business.
developers. In fact, though, maybe the worst founder is engineer. in a business sense. Kasi
they don't know how to
focus on the features rather than what the customer really wants. No. So
dapat talaga balance lang.
You have to learn that. No, that's a skill to be learned, and that's fairly new. Product idea validation, product validation, rapid validation of ideas, and all that. That's a fairly new concept. But they're all learning that naman now. So end of the day, successful idea is something that the customer is willing to pay for. That's pretty much it.
How about you, Goldie?
So on top of, I think there was mention of team, I would always want to emphasize the ability to execute. And then going back to what Jay
execute
said,
fast.
Yes, no? Kasi lalo na like in universities, I guess, again, the incentive structure is different from the perspective of the university and siguro from the perspective of an incubator. Parang, this isn't practice, this is it, right? And I think the observation lang is there's that cultural thing where we're so in love with our idea. And so we IP it even at the idea stage, and there's so many bureaucratic stuff that come along the way. But really, the biggest lesson in the startup community is there's so many similar ideas to each other. Unahan lang yan.
Pagundahan.
Saka actually, hindi lang ideas dito, baka ideas na rin from other countries.
Yeah.
Na-replicate lang.
So yun, just do it, right? I guess it doesn't need to be perfect. Just get it out, validate or invalidate, and don't get hurt if it gets invalidated. Actually, take it as learning and like move on. I think that's a pain also of regulators, who pour in so much funding for, let's say, scientists, and as much we would want to, churn out something applicable, churn out solutions from all of this research. But really, I think kailangan din ng the business side of it. Na it's not just about, wow, it's so fancy, it's like highfalutin stuff, but really
you don't have revenue.
And it's a personal pain point for us also. We get a lot of inventors who apply, but really when you ask them, what is your motivation for doing this? And then they're very nonchalant about it. Na parang, fund this, help us market this so I can go and invent something else. And in as much as I want to say that's an outlier, no, it's almost always the mindset of inventors. So, and that's sad. I'm thinking maybe dahil business people don't interact with them and vice versa enough. So I guess sayang if there's something, highly potentially disruptive in the applied sciences, and that can be translated into a business to deliver solutions, that can be one thing. Another thing I notice when we get invited to, let's say, college-based competitions, the engineering students versus the business students, right?
Okay.
Business students, oh my God, so good at pitching, diba? Parang wow, mapapawaw ka. But chances are their ideas are either t-shirts or cupcakes. And then for engineering students, they have like all their Arduinos and they get their science right. But oh my God, they're struggling so much to explain it. They don't have a monetization model, wala. But then parang, diba, we were all in college one time in our lives. Parang I think there's a siloed thing. So I think also there needs to be that pure platform or even like a cultural thing where they should be forced to collaborate with each other.
Collaborate.
Even like a design, a curriculum design, maybe it can start as simple as that.
Partnership with Ched and Field Dev. Meron sila entrepreneurship na course. Siguro pwede nilang pagsamahin yun.
What they need is space. a physical venue. What they need is a makerspace, a fab lab.
Saka hindi ganun kadali yung mag-pitch.
No.
Kung hindi ka naman talaga nagpi-pitch.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though you have a great ideas talaga, no? The problem is, minsan nakita ko yung, minsan nagpipitch, ganda-ganda ng idea, pero hindi niya talaga ma-pitch na maganda.
Chad ang may problema niyan.
Dapat.
Seriously though, you need to match them with a teammate who can communicate.
Yung iba, hindi rin ba maganda yung idea, pero napakagaling mag-pitch?
Si Jobs and Wozniak. It's a classic example.
Yeah.
You've got an engineer and a business
person.
Yan.
Yung magaling, di ba?
Yun lang naman yung formula.
Tandem nila, no?
So, team up with another person and vice versa. Kunyari, may idea ka naman. Or if you're a good communicator, marketer, may nakita kang okay na product, make it your passion to bring it.
Dapat mag-mentor talaga niya si Judah eh. Napakagaling mag-pitch na.
Si Judah.
Alam mo, kahit saan event before that, isang event, nandun siya eh.
Yeah.
Pitch niya yun.
Alam mo, ang pitching madali lang yan eh. If you break it down into specific components, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's really make it short. Don't drag it. Don't make it boring. Okay? There's a 10, 20, 30 rule of Guy Kawasaki for pitches. Okay? 10 slides, 20 minutes to pitch. 20 point. Sorry, 20? 10 minutes. 10 slides, 20 something, and 30 point font. Yan. And that's a pretty good rule of thumb. Isipin na natin kung ano yung 20 mamaya. But the confidence to communicate is something else. Okay? Because, the ability to communicate locally and regionally and globally, that's a different skill. That's first of all, being eloquent enough, having the right vocabulary, and having the confidence to talk in that way. Ibang yun. So where do we get that skill now? Diba?
Wala namang course na gano'n.
Correct.
Wala.
Siguro
about pitching, diba?
About
si Gian na lang, 2 minutes.
Sorry?
With minute? Diba?
Well, yeah. Well, syempre, I doubt it. I don't think that was like the most perfect pitch ever.
Pero you got the funding, diba?
Well, after a few months, but yeah, I had to pitch again. But I think from a founder standpoint.
By the way, what's the reaction of Minute?
From the first time, I think it was good. It was a good enough reaction so that I was able to send them an email again to start the I think
interested ba actually dun sa Scab? Is she interested talaga? Kasi mayroong mga founders na, may mga VCs na yes nang yes no? Okay.
I think it's also a skill that you learn to know, to discern what's the real yes and the yes na gusto ko lang, hindi ko
pagbigyan, yes.
Oo. So, and I think also to what, Goldie said, to what Jay said, na, when you being a founder, honestly, you have to be a bit hard-headed and a bit, you have to have an ego eh. Kasi you can't kung wala kang ego, hindi ka pwede maging founder. Because
yan yung mga 20 at least mga 20 years old, yan yung nagkaroon karamihan ng failures, di ba?
Correct. The problem with having an ego is that you're also sort of creating a wall between you and a potential co-founder. So you have to get beyond yourself. No, so kailangan maging humble ka na mayabang in a sense, so accept that you can only do so much and then trust that someone else can do the rest.
Humble na mayabang. Paano yun?
Actually, yun nga eh. If you perfect that, okay ka. So, and it's also, grit. I guess it wasn't mentioned that you have to have grit.
Pagka sobra na may grit, baka
wala na.
Wala na talaga.
But it's also standing up kasi after you fail, di ba? I think that's one thing. Because it's not always written, it's not always said that, behind every success is probably a gazillion failures. We didn't get to where we are right now without times wherein, I was literally, crying, trying to find how to pay the salary of my people.
Yun, that's the problem.
Those are things that
happen. Saka problema nyo, you have to pay SSS.
You have to pay SSS and all of that, diba? So parang, and it's hard to, fortunately, we never got to that point na talagang wala. But, in a previous startup, that happened a lot of times. So, na parang, it's hard to tell someone in the face na, I cannot pay you today knowing na may anak siya.
Oh, yun,
knowing na may pinaparag. It breaks your heart eh. And, you without grit, without that thing na, we'll have to push you forward beyond that, you'll really just break down. So you really have to push forward, and I guess that's a characteristic that has to be also, I guess hopefully mentored.
Not for the faint of heart.
But I guess when you start something, nandun eh. You don't start something kung hindi ka naman
ready.
Kung hindi ka, hindi ka.
On the matter of those failures, every entrepreneur experiences that. But on the matter of failing proper or the right type of failure, I'd rather see failures on moonshots. You have to be audacious. Like I said, you have to be an audacious founder. You have to you have to solve the big problems of the world. Wag na yung
pero yung percentage of failure medyo mas malaki kasi
okay lang, pero yung when you make that when you succeed,
talaga big shot, di ba?
No, you change the world. Ngayon kung magfe-fail ka lang ng mga e-commerce startup, walang kwenta, sayang yung energy.
Sabagay.
Okay, pati yung mga mentors tatama rin na sa'yo kasi what another e-commerce thing. Wala pa bang model yan that you can follow? Do you really need my advice? Can you just pick the product? But when you're talking about stuff like
healthcare,
analytics, data analytics, healthcare, no? Those are the big problems to solve. Those are
traffic.
That's true innovation. Traffic.
Meron bang
mamahalin ka ng Pilipino.
Meron ba application sa traffic?
Pero innovation talaga is what we're after. Okay? It's not profit. If your motive is profit, your product will get corrupted by that at the end of the day, in the long run.
Sige, sa Pilipinas, ano yung mga dapat na...
Agriculture.
Health.
Education. Traffic, city planning.
Speaking of health, ano ba? PhilHealth?
Hindi. Well...
May dapat ba magtayo pa tayo ng isang ano?
I think one of the apparent healthcare problems here is the delivery of it in the rural areas, in the clinics and all that. But yung mga regular hospitals, are we really getting the proper healthcare? Is it a business endeavor rather than a service endeavor? Yun ang mga pero it's a big discussion. Healthcare, that's very complicated. I think what's more important than healthcare is agriculture. Because that's where we're supposed to be the strongest. And I know that the farming generations always ends in a previous one. The young kids are the ones that are being sent to college and they decide to work in the big cities and corporate. Problema yon. That's a big problem. Mawawalan tayo ng mga farmers.
Yun. Sige, kinapos na tayo sa oras. Goldie, anything else to promote?
It's really, I agree with what everyone said. I think this sort of group of people represent different, segments of the ecosystem, from a community, actual founders. So really the call to action here is, if you don't know anything about startups, it's a rising tide.
Yes.
The perfect time to be curious and immerse yourself is now, not later.
Yes.
If you are a startup and you actually feel like you don't have a community, there is. So, just Google it and it's actually there. If you want to actually help out, there are so many avenues to help out. There's Launch Garage, there's Idea Space, there are PSIA, right? Smart DevNet.
Yes.
We're here, we're happy to help. And we welcome all the help that we can get as well. So, let's do this, guys.
Okay. See you all sa Geeks on the Beach.
Yes,
that's
Geeks on the
Wednesday.
Beach.
Okay. Next week na yan, di ba? Excited na talaga tayo. Party time!
Wednesday, di ba? Wednesday.
Sige, kinapos na naman talaga tayo. Sinesenyosan na tayo.
Okay. May kasunod na.
Maraming salamat sa guest natin, Tina. Maraming salamat sa iyo at nagkaroon tayo ng Geeks on the Beach pa rin. Ross, kasalamat din.
Yes, Ross Del Rosario po to ng whatsappfilipinas.com, ang pambansang vlogger ng Pilipinas.
Okay, see you all sa Geeks on the Beach.
Salamat
po.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Anumang pahayag, pananaw at opinyon na inyong narinig mula sa katatapos lamang na programa ay sariling pahayag, pananaw at opinyon ng mga hosts at ng kanilang mga panauhin. Walang anumang kinalaman at walang kaugnayan ang pamunuan at ang istasyong ito. Alvin Barcelona,
Malacanang sa mabagal na pag-usad ng panukala.
Shona Yu,
ni Senator J.V. Ejerto ang mga opisyal ng 2015.
Den Macaranas,
ng DSWD Region 3, yung nanay.
Donna Dominguez Cargullo,
Traffic Control Center ang dahilan kung bakit hindi makabiyahe ang
Erwin Aguilon,
Kilos protesta na sa gawa naman ang kilos ang magbubukay ng
Isa Avendaño Umali,
mula man sa administrasyon o oposisyon ang
John Escosio,
New People's Army kasunod ng pagkakahuli ng kanilang sekretary.
Jay Donis,
Na ng Makati City Government ang mga motorista na maapektuhan ng ginagawa.
Jong Manlapas,
Bunyawan, hindi naman na nauwi sa sakitan ng demolisyon sa mga bahay.
Ricky Brosas,
Justice Secretary Leila Dilma, ang mga ulat na madalas nakikita sa
Ruel Perez.
ng Commission on Elections sa kontrobersyon ng Sapina Residency.
Sila ang inyong Radyo Inquirer 990 reporters. Tapat at tumpak sa balita at impormasyon. Naririnig, napapanood at ngayon nababasa na rin ang Radyo Inquirer 990 sa pamamagitan ng radyo.inquirer.net. Radyo Inquirer 990.
Philippine Standard Time, ganap ng 6 na minuto makalipas ang alas 11 ng umaga.
Ang oras ay hatid sa inyo ng Tanduay Select, the drink you deserve, at ng New Gin Kapitan Light. Basta may Gin Kapitan, kayang-kaya.
Magandang umaga. Aminado si Isabela 1st District Representative Rodito Albano na hindi maipapasa ang panukala niyang medical cannabis bill sa kasalukuyang Kongreso. Sa panayam ng Radyo Inquirer kay Albano, sinabi nito na alam niya nakakapusin ng panahon ang kanyang panukala lalo't hindi ito kasama sa listahan ng mga priority measures ng Aquino administration. Sa kabila nito, masayaan niya siya dahil naumpisahan ng pag-usapan at makakuha ng atensyon ang nasabing issue kahit walang bersyon nito na nakafile sa Senado. Katunayan, kahit hindi pa niya na ipa-file ang kanyang panukala ay tinatalakay na o tinalakay na ito sa Kamara de Representante. Umaasa naman siya na may re-refile ang kanyang medical cannabis bill kung hindi man siya ay ibang mambabata sa 17th Congress. Sa ngayon ay nasa committee level na ang kanyang panukala at may 69 ng co-sponsors. Sumayin niyo ang balita sa oras na ito. Ako po si Alvin Barcelona para sa Radyo Inquirer 990, bayan nagtatanong, mamamayang nag-uusisa.
Ang balitang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng Tanduay Select, the drink you deserve, at ng New Gin Kapitan Light. Basta may Gin Kapitan, kayang-kaya. Estudyante ka man o young professional, ang show na ito ay para sa iyo. Maki-join sa usapang trending sa kabataan. Narito na ang Gen YZ Radio. Gen YZ Radio. Halina, sali na sa makabagong programa sa radyo para sa makabagong henerasyon. Makinig sa mga payong kaibigan tungkol sa buhay, pag-ibig, pamilya at marami pang iba. Makibahagi sa pag-inform, inspire, involve at empower ng kapwa mo kabataang Pilipino. Gen YZ Radio. Tuwing Sabado, alas 8 hanggang alas 10 ng gabi. Kasama sina DJ Andrew, DJ Elaine, DJ Carla, DJ Adrian at DJ Dennis. Makakasama rin sa pagbabalita ang mga bagong boses ng kabataan mula sa Young Inquirer Team. Sa pamumuno ng nag-iisang voice master ng Pilipinas, Pocholo de Leon Gonzalez. Gen YZ Radio. The power of the new generation is now on air. Powered by Voice of the Youth Network and Creative Voices Productions. Gen YZ Radio. Dito lang sa Radyo Inquirer 990. Salubungin ang isa na namang araw ng maagang pagbabalita sa mga kaganapan at mga balitang dapat ninyong malaman. Alas 4 hanggang alas 5 ng umaga, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, samahan si Ruel Perez at si Erwin Aguilon tuwing Sabado at Linggo sa Diaryo sa Radyo. Dito sa himpilan ng balanseng pagbabalita, walang takot na pamamahaya. Radyo Inquirer 990.
Your own room in the office. May view pa ng skyline. You deserve it.
Sir, start tayo ng meeting nyo in 5 minutes.
Your own project to lead with your own staff. You deserve it.
Okay, approved.
And the chance to make your own decisions. You deserve it. For all that you've achieved, you deserve Tanduay Select. Toast success with something smooth. Toast it with Tanduay Select, the drink that you deserve. Enjoy the latest from the rum experts. New Tanduay Select. Drink responsibly.
Ito ang Trans Radio Broadcasting Corporation. DZIQ. Radyo Inquirer 990. Kasapi ng KBP. Hatid ay balanseng pagbabalita. Walang takot na pamamahayag. DZIQ. Radyo Inquirer 990. Ang mga pahayag, pananaw at opinyon na inyong maririnig mula sa susunod na programa ay sariling pahayag, pananaw at opinyon ng mga hosts at kanilang mga panauhin. Walang anumang kinalaman at walang kaugnayan ang pamunuan at ang istasyong ito.
So ayan!
Iba may angking talino at galing ang nag-iisang Warrior Angel sa radyo, Brenda Arcangel.
Now this one dedicated to all of you them who out there and know to say nice things to them girls. I like diamonds and pearls. Dedicated to all the girls.
Magandang umaga Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao! At magandang araw ng Sabado sa mga nakikita